I'm actually personally debating for myself, even though I don't need it, should I buy a Series X to play Starfield? With the impending release of Starfield, I think it's time to seriously start asking ourselves if we should be leaving the Xbox One behind, and is right now the best time to actually upgrade your system to actually play Starfield. Starfield right here on the Xbox website says that it is playable on PC and Xbox Series X and S. So this will not run on your Xbox One, but it will run on a PC, so let's check out those spec requirements real quick. So I've done a little digging for you, and here are the Starfield system requirements. And we're going to look at the minimum requirements real quick. Windows 10 64-bit, AMD Ryzen 5 2600, that's a little bit older model, Intel Core i7 6800, 16 gigs of RAM, AMD Radeon RX 5700, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 Ti, and you're going to need at least 125 gigs of space on a solid state drive. It cannot be a mechanical drive. It's got to be a solid state drive for this game. I've gone ahead and already downloaded this onto my PC and was so excited I didn't even check the technical specs. So this is Starfield here on my PC. It downloaded no problem. It didn't give me any warnings of saying that this isn't going to run. And right here under more information, it gives you a little bit more information about what it's actually going to take. It talks about your DirectX, that you're going to need a keyboard and mouse or an Xbox controller or a gamepad. And then right here, it's going to list the recommended requirements. Your operating system is Windows 10, the specific version or higher, 64-bit architecture. Your graphics, they recommend AMD RX 6800 XT, NVIDIA RTX 2080. For a processor, the recommended requirements is a Ryzen 5 3600X, Intel Core i5 10600K, 16 gigabytes of RAM. This is actually going to be DDR4 even though they don't list it. And then of course your keyboard, mouse, or some sort of controller for it. So you're probably thinking, I thought this video was about buying a new Xbox, not talking about PC specs. You may not need to buy a Series S or a Series X to play this game. The kicker with the PC, however, is going to be the actual quality that you're going to run this game at. There's a short blurb here on Pure Xbox where Todd Howard, the game director, states how the game is locked in at 30 frames per second. So if you're going to play this on a PC, it's going to be more important that you have a better resolution for your graphic than worrying about a higher refresh rate, a higher frame rate that you would normally see with your faster paced shooter games like Call of Duty or your more advanced MMOs. Hey, if you guys like these videos and you find them helpful, consider hitting that little subscribe button down there. It really does help out the channel. Right here it says Starfield is being locked at 30 frames per second on Xbox consoles. So on your PC, you're going to be able to manipulate these frame rates a little bit, but it's going to depend on what your PC can actually handle. If you don't want to mess with anything, now is the best time to get a brand new Xbox for two reasons. If you want to run Starfield at 4K and you have a 4K television, you need an Xbox Series X. And then for a Series S, this game is going to display at 1440p. One of these is 4K, one of them is about 2K. So it's actually going to come down to what can you afford and which do you actually prefer. If you're going to go all in and you want that 4K and you've got the screen to support it, then now is a good time to buy an Xbox Series X. If you want to get the absolute most out of Starfield. I personally do not own an Xbox Series X, but I was looking here at eBay just to kind of get a general idea of what they're going for now. So right now we're looking at sold listings. So we got little over 400, over 400, 400, 400, little over 400, a fancy one for over 400, and then you can get some with some defects for less than that. And I know that here in my area, the Xbox Series S, I consistently see them between $200 and $250. I actually picked up my S right back there as a fantastic deal for only $200, and that was about a year ago now. I'm actually personally debating for myself, even though I don't need it, should I buy a Series X to play Starfield? I know a lot of people groaned and complained that Starfield is locked at 30 frames per second, but I personally don't think it's that big a deal. Typically, you want a higher refresh rate, a higher frames per second when you're dealing with really fast-paced games. And in that case, especially on a PC, you usually drop your resolution so you can get that better refresh rate. Because on a seriously fast-paced game, you're not really worried about what the graphics are. You're more concerned about the information being delivered as fast as possible. Now there's all sorts of debates of how much can the human eye even intake at any 1 second, and I don't think that's going to be a really big deal here. The most important thing on this is going to be your 4K graphics to grab every little detail that Starfield is going to produce so that you and I can intake as much of this massive galaxy as possible. And the easiest way to do that is to just buy an Xbox Series X. So as part of the showcase, they announced an Xbox Series S 1TB edition. This is going to be in black, and they're releasing this September 1st, which puts it just in time conveniently for the release of Starfield. I think Starfield is the perfect occasion to leave your Xbox One behind, use it as a secondary console because I'm sure it still has lots of life into it, and make the jump to a Series S or a Series X. If you've got the disposable income for a Series X, then I say pick that one up, download Starfield, hook it to your 4K TV, and just go. If you've got a Series S like I do, I've got it hooked up to my 4K TV, and I will be playing Starfield day one. I don't think there's going to be a huge difference on the Series S versus the Series X when it comes to the actual gameplay. Yes, you're going to get a better resolution on the Series X because it's just putting out at a higher resolution. There is no way of getting around that. But unless you're sitting super close to your screen and staring at every single pixel possible, to the naked human sunglass eyes, I believe it's going to be just as an enjoyable experience. Things are most definitely shifting. Microsoft is not making games for the Xbox One anymore, which is understandable because that console is 10 years old already, and that is a topic that I will tackle in the next video.